Hey everyone, Justin Holland here with Texas State Insurance Services, and I'm very excited. This is our very first episode of the Mad Insurance Show, Making a Difference in Insurance. We created this show to share some updates and some insight and some real value in the insurance industry, and we're going to see how this goes. We want to make sure we have a weekly topic. We're going to have new guests that are going to come on, hopefully from local insurance carriers that we've got relationships with, and bounce some industry insights on what they can see and do for and help the consumer out there. We're hoping to have some doctors' offices, some provider offices, maybe even hospitals that stop by and visit with us over the weeks as well, and provide some insight and value on how they're helping out the community and helping people navigate specifically their health insurance or health care. The other thing we'd like to do is hopefully we can get some distinguished guests, some local legislatures that affect the policy on insurance, and I'm hoping we can have them join us as well. And again, this is our inaugural show for the Mad Insurance Show, and we're really excited. I think we're going to provide some exceptional value. I think it'll be well received from those that are joining us through the podcast or listening online, or listening to the radio show itself. So I'll give you a little background on me. I've been in the insurance business for about almost 13 years now, and got on into this industry on the heels of the Affordable Care Act that started. That was one of the biggest pieces of legislation at its time during 2012 and 2013, and we just saw an opportunity. I was in another industry at the time, and it looked like this would be something where I can help people build a business, and it was tough. Let me tell you, there was a lot of chaos in the industry, and that's come full circle here in 2025, because we're going to go over some updates on what's going on specifically in the health insurance industry, and those are going to be the key topics that I talk about here on the show today. So let's kick off those updates. Medicare updates. Annual notice of changes are going to start coming out here in September. And you're like, well, what is that? Well, I need y'all to watch your mailbox. If you are a Medicare individual or on Medicare and on a Medicare plan, basically you're going to get these annual notices of change regarding the changes that could be coming to your health insurance plan. And a lot of times the consumer will just kind of glance at it, throw it away, throw it in the trash. This is 1 year that it's very important to see what's inside those updates, and take a look at what changes and possibly some big changes could be coming towards your individual prescription drug plan or your Medicare Advantage plan if you're on Part C of Medicare. So annual notice of change, just make sure you're taking a look at that. Look at the mail. Everybody gets all these advertisements over the mail or over the phone. I know it can get exhausting, but this is 1 year going into this fall that you really want to make sure that you're looking at every option, you're analyzing your current coverage, and then you reach out to a local brokerage like Texas State Insurance Services and see what we can do to do a no-nonsense review on that coverage. Prescription drug plans in Medicare. So I was doing some research over the weekend for this show and just for our company, and it looks like one major carrier has already announced that they're going to be removing a very popular prescription drug plan and exiting out of the market. They were going to take their Medicare Advantage plans, it looks like, and get out of the market for those. But we're really anxious to get some more news on this update that they provided. I think it hit the news wire on Friday going into the weekend, because I wasn't able to get much information on it. But that leads me to believe that this particular plan, we've got quite a few customers that we helped get on these plans with them, and I'm anxious to see if they're going to keep those in place. They could be going away based on what it looks like, and that just, again, strengthens the awareness we're trying to provide in making sure you do a prescription drug plan review. Medicare Advantage, expect changes to those benefits. Don't be surprised if your plan says, hey, you know what? We're going to remove this plan from your market. there's going to be specific plans in markets around the country, hundreds of thousands of individuals. I don't know where it'll be in this Texas and South Texas market. We're waiting to get those details from the carriers, but there's going to be some significant changes to Medicare Advantage plan. Now, not to go in the weeds on all the dynamics of Medicare, but these are plans that are basically managed by the carriers, the major carriers that are out there, and they manage the Medicare A and B for those consumers, and sometimes even their prescription drug part of Medicare as well. And those plans are going to probably change. You might have a little bit stronger benefit this year for dental or vision. Maybe they're providing an over-the-counter gift card to take on some over-the-counter. We've seen cards that provide, credits that you can use for food, believe it or not. I see those going away. I think those are going to get retracted back on some of these carriers. I think it's going to be specific to markets and demographics, where these insurance carriers are maybe more profitable and not profitable, but definitely some disruption coming for Medicare Advantage that you want to keep an eye on. And this is, again, stressing this year. I mean, I mentioned this to a client last week that I was visiting, and I think we're witnessing a reset in the health insurance industry. And it's affecting Medicare plans for seniors, individual health insurance for those that are on individual health insurance through the marketplace, Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. And we're witnessing a reset even on group benefits. And I'm going to talk about group benefits and individual health insurance a little later with those updates. But very important to make sure that you're looking at every option and being in tune to what's happening to your coverage and see if there's alternatives out there. Medicare supplement rates. Boy, did I get some phone calls and messages from a lot of our Medicare supplement clients this past summer. The summertime is typically when the Medicare supplement plans on the medical side renew, and you see some price changes in those. And we saw double-digit price increases from pretty much every Medicare supplement carrier out there. I don't think there was one client that we had that was not affected by one of the many carriers that we've helped them get enrolled with. And we've done quite a bit with that. And it was double digits. And a lot of individuals like, hey, Justin, you just help us enroll in this plan. I'm already getting an increase. And we're like, yeah, and we make sure we try to set that tone and that expectation. We don't control that. Those are these supplement plans, and most of Medicare is regulated by the government legislation and how they handle that. However, there is a price to it, and those prices are going to increase. Now, the double-digit increases that we saw in Medicare supplements, we could see another round in 2026. And we just don't know what that looks like, probably until next summer or going into the summer. But don't be surprised or be prepared for another increase. I'm hoping it's not double digits like what we had this last year, because think about it. Not only does the insurance rate go up, but most of these plans are tied to your age. And as you get a year older, not only do you get increased just for the industry standard, you get an increase because you're just that much older. And there's a risk factor there. So keep an eye on your Medicare supplement plans. Sometimes it's not easy to change those because underwriting can apply on that. You need to be somewhat healthy. You've got knockout questions that the carriers give you when you're shopping that. We can guide you through that with Texas State Insurance Services if you need it. Part B premiums. Okay, and I know I keep on providing all these updates. You're like, Justin, come on, give us some good news. Part B premiums. I was with, what was it, a carrier last Monday or Tuesday. I'm sorry, Monday was a holiday. I was with United Healthcare, and my rep teased me and said, hey, Part B is probably going up in Medicare, and the deductible will be going up as well. And I was like, okay, what are we looking at? And it looks like it's going to go from $185 on up to over $200. And that's a pretty good increase. We had an increase the prior year. There's always been changes on Medicare premiums. A lot of people just think, hey, Medicare is free and I'm good to go. No, Medicare has a cost. Most individuals have that cost tied to their Part B premium of their Medicare, and that is absolutely increasing um, over $200 going into next year. We're waiting on final numbers for that. That could change. That could get scaled back. We're in a time of our industry where some news will come in and hit us, and then they'll track it back. Legislation will come in and say, hey, you know what? We were a little too quick on that, overcorrected. This is what we're going to plan to do moving forward. And it's going to be an interesting time. So, Part B premiums, expect those to increase. And I brought up the Medicare supplement plan increase. I brought up the Part B premium increase that we faced on a lot of our clients and even just individuals across the country. But just make sure that you do your annual review. This could be a time where you make some plan changes, okay, in the way you have your Medicare managed. And we'll be here to help you. If you've got a designated agent or broker, great. If you need a second opinion, we'll help you with that. But those are the Medicare updates that we've got. On future shows, we're going to try to make sure we let you know, hey, we talked about this a few weeks ago. This is an update to that. So whenever we get more updates on the Medicare, we'll let you know. But those are some of the major points that I wanted to bring up and talk about regarding Medicare. Definitely going to probably have some updates for you in the future off of that. So that applies to Medicare. Texas State Insurance Services. So Texas State Insurance Services is a local brokerage out of San Antonio. We've got 4 convenient locations to visit with clients all over the San Antonio metro, and we see quite a few of them at our locations. We can come visit you at your home if need be, or do a visit at your office or work or business. So we're very flexible on that, online meetings as well. You need to expect some disruptions for your health insurance, not just your Medicare. It's going to affect individual health insurance for those families that are under the age 65 or maybe don't have access to employee benefits, and they're going to have a disruption. We're going to help you review those health insurance options for you individually, Medicare plans for seniors, and Texas State Insurance Services also helps out with employee benefits. So if you got a small or large business and you need us to take a look at your benefits portfolio for your valued employees, we'd love to come in and give you a second look and a no-nonsense review on, hey, maybe there's some strategies or some carriers that we need to consider that weren't considered before. We pride ourselves on making sure we do annual reviews for everybody, any one of our clients that need it and require it. That goes for the individual, Medicare, and employee benefits side. Texas State Insurance Services, real excited to help you out at a local level here. We actually added an office in McAllen serving the Rio Grande Valley as well. I'm originally from McAllen in the Rio Grande Valley, so we're so excited that we've really taken care of the San Antonio and surrounding area as well as deep South Texas. Individual health insurance updates, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, the health insurance marketplace, whatever you want to call it. It's got multiple names. We are expecting some changes coming for the Affordable Care Act and the individual health insurance market. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, when I was kind of introducing myself, the Affordable Care Act, when it first came out, it had a lot of criticism. At the very beginning, we saw the good, the bad, and the ugly with the Affordable Care Act. I can't tell you how many times we help people with individual plans and reviewing, and they're like, no, Justin, I want a PPO plan. And we're like, no, it doesn't exist on the individual market to try to get you the most affordable coverage. Now, there's, I say health coverage, health insurance. There's a big difference on health insurance and health insurance coverage or health coverage. We'll go over that at another show. But the individual health insurance marketplace has had some ups and some downs, okay? And what we're going to see right off the bat, we're going to see premium increases coming. And the past few years, I think it's been easy to navigate or easy to change. Some carriers, opened up in the market and got in to provide some options out there. But there's different networks. There's no PPO networks on the individual plans. There's only HMOs and EPOs, E and Echo. There is a POS network on some carriers, point of service, but most of the time it's either an HMO or EPO. Believe it or not, some states have PPO individual health insurance plans on the marketplace. I think Florida is one of them that we've seen it. The trade-off on those PPO plans is just the premium is just that it's significantly higher, outrageously higher in some cases. So everybody that had group health insurance coverage at one time or was losing that always wants to hold on to a PPO network to try to have the strongest network or flexibility on their doctor and specialist. When you get into the individual health insurance market, specifically the Marketplace, Affordable Care Act, ACA, and the Obamacare, that is where a lot of people realize, okay, my health insurance is changing, and it can be significant because you've got some doctors that are not in networks off of that, and then you've got some doctors that are. So I'm going down a tangent a little bit just to give some more insight on individual health insurance because every conversation we have, if it's a person that we're meeting with that is losing a group health insurance plan or employee benefits plan through an employer, a lot of times there can be disruptions. And we want to make sure we provide those expectations because so many times somebody will go online, find some health coverage option, and they'll get enrolled in that plan and realize that there are some underwriting exclusions. They might not cover everything. There could be gaps in medications. And typically when they find that out is during the emergency, when the situation is getting bad at the worst time, instead of having the coverage in place from the initial enrollment and making sure they're prepared for those emergencies. But let's get back to premium increases. What we're looking at is, or what the carriers are signaling, on the medium increases is about 18%. Okay, so if we're at 18%, that means some carriers could be over 20%, some could be 11, some could be 4. We're going to get those final numbers, and we'll have a better idea. Really, first week in November, maybe the first week, the last week of October, going into November, on how the individual health insurance plans and premiums are going to look like. Again, we're kind of on bated breath, just like how we're waiting for the Medicare plans to be released. We're really looking forward to seeing what the changes on the individual health insurance is going to be for so many of our clients and those that are probably going to reach out to us from the show because they're going to be prepared. They know that, hey, we probably need to talk about this sooner than later. And that's going to be critical to prepare early. So if you waited till the last minute on your individual health insurance enrollment, I would visit with us sooner. You can give Texas State Insurance Services a call, and we'd love to visit with you regarding your individual health insurance just to make sure we can provide some expectations and a plan on what those premiums could be increasing to. Okay, and they're coming. So that's one challenge on the Affordable Care Act and individual plans. The carriers are gonna have to increase their cost specifically on their premiums. Now, their copays could go up or down, the deductibles could go up and down, and the out-of-pocket limits, your catastrophic limits, could go up and down. But a lot of people are driven by premium of what their health insurance costs for themselves, for their spouse, for their family members, combined on the plan. And we expect some changes there. Subsidies expiring. So there's a debate on if there's going to be some last-minute legislation that's going to take care of some key subsidies that have helped. Really, the best way I can explain it is some individuals and families, they were on a health insurance plan. Let's take it pre-COVID, okay, pre-2020. And they had an income that was just too high, despite their family size, to qualify for lower premiums to be more affordable. It's supposed to be the Affordable Care Act. Some people give us a hard time on that. We've got some people that have zero premiums, or $100 premiums and $1,000+ a month premiums. If you think about a car payment or mortgage payment, sometimes that health insurance cost is around there. But the enhanced subsidies basically helped us a few years ago help those individuals that typically would not qualify for additional help to get them to help. So instead of maybe $1,000 a month for a individual, it's it's more like a $600, $400 for a family or four or five. So it was significantly helpful. I mean, we're talking $5,000 to $6,000 in savings a year, and providing those consumers the ability to get that. And I pulled up I don't know if I printed it, an example of somebody online on this. Let me see if I can get this pulled up, because it was a good example of a family of four that had access to health insurance through the marketplace and what their costs would look like. Here it is right now, if they made a change. So I've got a really cool calculator that we found online that's available. I put in an income, a little over $100,000 a year for a family of four. Typically, it's the spouse or both spouses that are working to contribute to that income. I selected that the individual did not have access to insurance or affordable insurance through their employer. It's a family of four, two adults. The ages of those individuals that I use for this example, age 40 and 42. I put in non-smoker. They could be smokers, and if you are a smoker, that can increase your rates. I put two children for this example, one 10 years old and one 16 years old. Okay, and I basically submitted it and to see what we could get on a result. And based on the information provided, your income equaled to 385% of the poverty level. So it's basically analyzing, okay, what's the family size, what's the ages of those individuals, and what's that adjusted gross income that they could possibly qualify for some assistance. So with the enhanced subsidies, if everything remained the same today without removing those this coming up fall, they're looking at about $130 a month. Okay. Without this, and that's the credit that they were going to get financial help towards their premium. Now, if they were on a lower tier, high deductible plan, a premium for a family of four with that $130 credit, let's call it $400.31. I mean, $431 a month. Okay, for a family of four, it's a reasonable premium. Some people might not think that's a reasonable premium, but that's a good plan to have. Typically, they're expanded bronze plans. They'll give you a copay for the doctor. They'll sometimes give you a copay for the specialist. You don't have to meet the deductible before you can use those copays, which is great. And sometimes you'll have some prescription drug coverage, not necessarily, where it's not subject to a higher deductible for those higher tier medications, but your generics are going to be reasonable. And then you have a high deductible and high maximum. God forbid there's a catastrophic medical emergency for the family. And I'm talking, 15,000, 25,000, 100,000. It costs money if we get really sick or in those emergency situations. And that's where the out-of-pocket maximum on insurance is a ceiling, and it basically to help keep you from and having those catastrophic bills, God forbid, a medical emergency were to come up. But nonetheless, based on those stats, $830 credit per month, a little over $400. Okay. Now, without the enhanced subsidies, it looks like that credit would lower to $777. Not a bad increase or decrease on the credit, and that premium could go to $484. Okay. The example I'm giving is based on an entry-level bronze plan. If you say, hey, Justin, I've got a silver or I've got a gold plan that have lower deductibles and lower out-of-pocket limits, maybe a little bit more reasonable or lower copays, that's what I'm used to. You could be going from $800 to $900 to $900 to $1,000 based on this scenario. Everyone is different, okay? But we're expecting in some cases some 40% increases for individual health insurance. Now, we've got some ways to be creative on the insurance plans, on having a high deductible plan that might not have the urgent care visits and the doctor visits for you. And we can supplement that with another plan for you. And we're real excited because we've got some solutions to be able to help you with that through Texas State Insurance Services. But back to the cost, there's premium increases coming from the carrier on the individual plans. The subsidies are going to be expiring. The expanded subsidies, it's already saying, hey, they're going away. Although there has been a lot of grassroots efforts and people trying to get their legislatures to say, hey, we can't lose our affordable health insurance. We need these expanded subsidies. That remains to be seen. If it's like any of the prior years, whenever we get updates, it's typically last minute, and they at the 0 hour they finally say, okay, you know what, we're going to allow this, and then we're scrambling to try to make the changes at the end of the year, which is tough because you got the holidays going on, you've got multiple enrollments going on for Medicare, for individual health. Could be a time for your group health insurance as well. I'll go down a little tangent on the individual health insurance with those premiums increases, and I'm going to touch on this on how it can affect group benefits or employer-sponsored plans, is the fact that those individuals that are on a marketplace plan, there's a lot of people that are on those plans and that were offered what's deemed affordable coverage with their employer, and they're receiving a tax credit or subsidy. A lot of times, these individuals will have to pay those tax credits or subsidies back because the IRS and the health insurance marketplace will talk to each other along with the data that comes in from your employer that they offered affordable health insurance. So this fourth quarter going into this fall for individual, as you come up for renewal possibly for the group health insurance plan that you think is too expensive, we'll be here to help you review the individual plans, but also take another hard look at your group plan. Because a lot of times it is more affordable for the employee to get on the group plan, and then the spouse, children, one or the other, or both, get on an individual health insurance plan. I'll give you an example. I had a car dealership that we helped out in South Texas, and one of their valued employees said, hey, Justin, I love the rate and premium on this plan. It was, like a little over $100 for employee only, but I can't afford this $1,000, for adding the rest of my family on the plan. I was like, I totally get it. I think I've got a solution for you. Let's shop the individual health insurance plans on the marketplace and then see if, hey, we'll keep you on the group plan, but take care of the rest of the family. And sure enough, we were able to find him a great plan. It was a high deductible plan, but it had copays, what they needed for the doctor, for specialists, and even urgent care for his family to be able to go to the doctor if they need to, but not have to worry about meeting a crazy deductible. That savings was a little over $800 a month. I think it might have been more than that. Well over $8,000 a year in savings in premium, just because we took the time to analyze the employee benefit option that he had for him and his family. And then we took it a scenario because of what's called the family glitch legislation. They finally fixed this glitch because a lot of people were not qualifying for the subsidies for their family members if they were offered health insurance. I'll probably go over this a little bit more detail in a future show. But the bottom line was we were able to help that employee stay on the company plan or employer-sponsored plan and significantly lower the cost for the health insurance for the spouse and the other children. And again, getting almost close to $10,000 a year in savings. That was significant. That was a breath of fresh air for that employee. And that set the tone for that employer group that we handled the employee benefits for, to let them know, hey, just because a lot of times the employee won't even get on the plan if it's unaffordable for the rest of the family. So we want to make sure we do that review. And we're one of the few brokers here in town with Texas State Insurance Services where we'll sit down and analyze the group benefits and see how the individual plans play out, because it is a case-by-case basis. It's going to be tied to what benefits you have through your employer. You got to take a look at that. The other pieces to that is what are the ages of those employees? The employee's spouse and children. What is the combined income? even the zip code and demographic where they live can affect what the premiums are or what the carrier is going to cost for that extra coverage there as well. That brings up another point too. We'll have a lot of individuals within the group benefits arena where we'll do Medicare reviews for those that are Medicare eligible or fixing to become Medicare eligible. And they're like, "Hey, Justin, I've got access to my employer-sponsored plan here. Um, I need some help on reviewing my individual health insurance um, for Medicare, but I can't let my spouse not go without coverage. Should I stay on the company plan? Does it make sense?" That's where we'll do a review and say, "Hey, listen, we'll take a look at your group plan, but it might make sense to go full-fledged Medicare for yourself and then go individual plans and not have to carry that higher premium with an employee spouse or employee family premium with the company benefits." Again, it's a case-by-case basis. Everybody's situation is different. That's why we want to be here to help you do a complete review on your plans and your insurance through Texas State Insurance Services. That gives you kind of an idea on individual health insurance updates for the specifically for the Affordable Care Act. I don't necessarily see much changes on individual dental and vision. We've got some carriers that are our go-to carriers that we help out for the individual dental and vision options. Most people, the linchpin situation is the health insurance, and those premiums are going to go up. Subsidies are going to go away for a lot of people. So it's imperative to start planning now and reaching out to Texas State Insurance Services. And that leads me into Texas State Insurance Services again. We're hosting a weekly Social Security workshop through Texas State Insurance Services and also Palmetto Life Group that handles that Social Security analysis. And you're like, "Justin, well, what is that? What is that going to help with?" The Social Security analysis ties into your Medicare and your planning. Okay, we can actually help you. By the way, I'm a registered Social Security analyst. There's only a few of us here in the San Antonio and South Texas market that are registered. We have the ability to help you analyze your income statements and see where you can maximize your Social Security. But this luncheon that we're going to have, you can join us in person or you can join us remotely. If you want details on our weekly luncheon that we've got, whether you want to join us in person and have some snacks with us and talk about the Social Security, and we're going to talk about some gotchas and how to engage that and prepare, or you can join us remotely. But call the number for Texas State Insurance Services, 210-880-5316, or you can visit us on the website at txstateinsurance.com, complete our contact form. We'll also have an events page there where you can get some details, but a weekly Social Security workshop is going to be imperative to help you prepare for Social Security, as well as we'll talk about Medicare and how it relates to Social Security. Because you actually have to enroll into Medicare through your Social Security portal or through the Social Security office. A lot of people don't realize that until they meet with us and we give them some direction on that. But we're real excited about this weekly luncheon that we're going to start hosting the following week. I think it's going to be every Wednesday. I think that was the day that we're going to do. And we'll visit with you locally in our Northside San Antonio office, or we'll have you log in and join us remotely. But you got to RSVP, you got to reserve a seat. We've got limited spaces for that. Obviously, if you join us online, we should have plenty of room for you. But we're so excited to bring the value with the Social Security workshop and our weekly luncheon that'll provide some value for you through Texas State Insurance Services. And again, that number is 210-880-5316, or you can visit us online at txstateinsurance.com. I mentioned earlier that we were real excited to kick off the Mad Insurance Show, Making a Difference in Insurance, because we've discussed, just in the past probably 30 plus minutes, some critical updates that are coming to Medicare and some critical updates that are coming to individual health insurance. And I think those updates are going to change. I think we'll be providing that value every week. But it's not just the individual side. We want to try to provide value to the employers, to the small businesses out there. we've come in to small and large businesses and done some great reviews and helped them prepare their employees for the Social Security. We've done Social Security and Medicare workshops to help out these employers provide that awareness, because a lot of people don't know. I can't tell you how many employers I talk to. One major thing that I'll just kind of tease you with is COBRA. COBRA is not considered credible coverage through Medicare. So a lot of individuals will stay on a company plan on their COBRA, and they're Medicare eligible, and then find out that when they lose that COBRA, they've got to wait, and they're going to get penalized for getting their Medicare. Huge, huge problem that affects so many people. And this year we're calling it the silver tsunami. There are more individuals aging into Medicare this year than ever before. And one of the things that I think that we're seeing that we weren't expecting is not only do we have more individuals aging into Medicare this year ever before, we've got so many people that are finally retiring. They're done working, and they're saying, "Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and look at this Medicare full fledged. I'm gonna come off the employee benefits. Could be cost, could be just, hey, they're ready to retire." But that's coming into the equation as well, and it's overwhelming the Social Security office. They don't take in-house they don't take walk-ins anymore. You gotta schedule an appointment. I was guilty of sending individuals to rural Social Security offices around the San Antonio area because they were a little bit easier to get into. Those days are over, and you got to make sure you're proactive on your Medicare and Social Security, and we provide that proactiveness and awareness for employer benefit groups. Let's talk about the group benefit updates. We help out and basically consult on quite a bit of small, really small, medium size, and large group benefit plans out there. And it hasn't been pretty on renewals this year. It's been very rare that we have not seen double-digit increases from the carriers. I think we've gotten lucky on some of the carriers scaling some of those double-digit increases back. For the most part, it's been really difficult. And sometimes those rates are not subject to the underwriting or showing, hey, we're not running as hot on our claims anymore. It's tied to the age of the employees. So the rates are what they are. And you can't really I don't want to go into the weeds on how group benefits are measured on health insurance or how they're quoted, but you've got some carriers that you have no flexibility on that renewal. And we had a tough conversation with a client that had a 40+% increase, and the carrier wasn't going to budge. So you got to make sure that you're being proactive. And most brokers and agencies, I hope, are proactive on that. But sometimes there's some solutions and alternatives out there that are going to change the market and dynamic of group health insurance plans. For the past few years, sometimes we had to dismantle a small group health insurance plan because they couldn't make it affordable or keep up with the health insurance marketplace plans that were more affordable for the employees. So those are scenarios where we have to look at that and analyze the group benefits. But right now, the 2026 renewals or the renewals that we're seeing here in 2025 going into 2026 are not pretty. And these carriers are not budging on some of these increases. And I mentioned this a moment ago. I think we're witnessing a reset in the health insurance and benefits industry, not just the Medicare side of the business, not just the individual health insurance side of the business, but the group side of the business as well. And it'll be interesting to see how the next 6 months 12 months, the next 36 months go in our industry, because we're seeing so many dynamic changes and shifts on specifically the cost of the health insurance. So I wish I had better news to update on the group benefits side, but keep Texas State Insurance Services in mind for your health insurance review or your employee benefits review. We'd love to give you a look and provide some value and see what we can do to help you with that. Marketplace migration. So how does that affect group and employee benefits? Well, I think it's going to affect employee benefits with the fact that and I'd see this when we handhold group benefits renewals for years now, there were so many employees that just disregarded the health insurance offering from the employer because they were on a marketplace plan. And a lot of times they were on a marketplace or Affordable Care Act plan receiving a subsidized plan, very low cost or zero cost plan for them and their family, and they shouldn't have been. And I think the details that I provided a little while ago regarding the individual health insurance subsidies going away, the expansion of those subsidies going away, I think this fall more than ever, we're going to see employees possibly get caught off guard if they're not actively preparing for their group benefits. And there's quite a few group benefits renewals that happen at the tail end of the year, now going into the fall for January 1st effective dates. There's a lot of them that aren't. They're throughout the year, but the majority of them are the tail end of the year. If you are an employee or an employer, it's imperative to prepare for your individual health insurance changing and how to see if there needs to be a mix of the group benefits for the employee and individual health insurance for the employee's spouse and children, one or the other or both. And the marketplace migration that I see coming is those people that are prepared, okay, they are going to be prepared that maybe they shouldn't have been on a health insurance marketplace plan and should have been on an employer-sponsored plan, or at least the employee should have been. And they'll take a look at what those rates look like for the rest of the family members. And because it could be more affordable to get on a group plan. I see scenarios where individuals that were on the marketplace might all full-fledged come over to the group plan because it could be one more affordable if they lose their subsidies. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a case-by-case basis. It depends on the ages of those people, those family members. It depends on the income, the demographic, and the family size, and how many true tax dependents they have within that family. But the marketplace migration, I think, could be real. I'm hoping that it doesn't catch a lot of people by surprise going into 2026 before it's too late. Sometimes legislation has come in, specifically during the pandemic. They said, hey, we're going to allow for a special period, Medicaid unwinding. There was a lot of people that were losing Medicaid because after the pandemic, they were just, during the pandemic, people were just automatically getting their Medicaid, their lower income insurance plan through the state and federal government approved. And it was just no questions asked. They were getting approved. Well, they had the Medicaid unwinding. It's like, hey, we're going to hold off on this now. You're going to qualify. And there were millions of people that were losing their Medicaid coverage. And a lot of times they didn't realize they lost the coverage until they went to the doctor. And despite getting the mail and the letters and the phone calls, they just never found an alternative option. So where I'm going back to the marketplace migration, keeping people on their toes, is some of those people might miss the opportunity to get onto an individual plan for their self or family members this fall, or getting onto the company plan during the annual enrollment period when you're allowed to do that. I can't tell you how many phone calls we get on our employee plans and our group benefits plans. Oh, such and such missed it. Is there any way to get him through? No. And that can be a critical error, especially if that employee gets sick and they got a medical emergency. So important to be prepared on your employee benefits and take a look at that. We're here to help with Texas State Insurance Services on employee benefit reviews, or just help offer individual health insurance plans. There's a lot of companies out there. They're just not in a position to offer employee benefits. We can help offer a game plan or a strategy for those employees to get on affordable health insurance plans. Maybe even offer a dental or vision benefit offering for the company as well. So keep that in mind. We're here to help you with that, but just be on your toes. If you run a business and you're in an HR department, or you handle the benefits for a business, just be cognizant of the fact that there's a lot of changes coming. It's going to affect the Medicare individuals, it's going to affect the individual health insurance individuals, could be affecting your group plan. You want to take a look at every scenario and have a game plan for your valued employees, obviously the bottom line of your business or company, and just be proactive on that as well. I keep on touching on that family glitch, and this is important for employee benefits because it's still a factor. Let's dive into this a little bit more on the family glitch. I gave you an example a moment ago of an employee where it was too expensive for them to get on get their family members on their employer-sponsored health insurance. So we needed a solution. We helped them with that. That family glitch that got repaired almost 3 years ago now, I think it was 3 years, um, was huge, and nobody was talking about it. Okay, and it's important to know that the employees can get insurance through their employer, and a lot of times the spouse, children, one or the other, or both are going to qualify for individual health insurance. Yes, they're going to be on a separate plan. They're not going to be on an employer-sponsored plan. If you need to have a PPO plan or specific doctors covered, excuse me, the the individual health insurance plans might not be the best for that, but they're going to help you on premium wise. Sometimes some family members have to make some tough decisions, and no matter what, stay on an employer sponsored plan because it provides the network or the coverage that they're looking to have. But that family glitch can provide some affordability for families, and I still think that's going to be a strong factor in helping people with affordable coverage where the group plans are just too expensive off of that as well. But the family glitch is a man. I'm so glad they fixed that. It helps so many people out that we needed to help out in our industry in health insurance. Palmetto Life Group. Palmetto Life Group, I've got it here behind me on my backdrop here for the show, is a company that's going to specialize and help you with life insurance, long-term care planning, and Social Security analysis, which I brought up a moment ago for the monthly. I'm sorry, not the monthly, but the weekly luncheons and webinars that we're having for Social Security optimization and how that can relate to Medicare. It helps you optimize your retirement strategy, to be honest. And Palmetto Life Group is going to be here to help you regarding your life insurance and long-term care needs. A lot of people do not talk about long-term care, and that's a problem. You know, a lot of people just say, "Oh, I got my life insurance and I've got my health insurance and I'm okay." Well, a lot of times, long-term care, and not a lot of times, most of the time, it is not going to be covered by your insurance. I got news for everybody out here. We are we're not getting younger, okay, but we're living longer. We are in fact living longer. We're just not necessarily living healthier. So it's very important that you take a look at the long-term care component of protection, because some people that might get this message, that it resonates with them because they had a family member, they dealt with a family member or loved one or friend or neighbor that was going through a long-term care situation. It's not pretty, and it's not cheap. It's expensive. So make sure that you do a life insurance and long-term care along with Social Security analysis review with Palmetto Life Group. And you can visit us at palmettolifegroup.com, or you can give us a call at our local phone number here in San Antonio. And we just updated that as again. I'm going to get that for you online. Palmetto Life Group's number is going to be 877-357-5316, or visit it at palmettolifegroup.com. You're going to see the contact form where you can basically reach out to us and set up a time for an in-person review, or you can just line up a visit for one of the luncheons that we'll have weekly as well. We're fixing to wrap up the MAD Insurance Show, Making a Difference in Insurance, and we're so thankful that you've joined us today. We're real excited to bring the value locally here to the KTSA listeners, the San Antonio market and South Texas market that it serves. We know that this is going to be broadcasted or syndicated on an online podcast, and we want to provide value. We want to make sure that we focus on the insurance industry. We right now in this last show that we're wrapping up, we've really been focusing on health insurance. There's going to be other insurance markets and industries that we're going to talk about in the coming weeks and months on this show. But specifically, we wanted to talk about health insurance in this show because of all the changes that are coming. And I talked about the Medicare updates on plans changing, benefits changing. Make sure you look out for your mail on those changes, and make sure you visit with a broker like Texas State Insurance Services to do your review. We talked about those individual health insurance plans, the Affordable Care Act. Those premiums are increasing, okay? Those subsidies that are helping lowering the cost of those increased premiums are going away as of right now. And we don't know if they're going to be coming back. So it's imperative that you be proactive on your individual health insurance review, not just for your Medicare. It could be for your individual health insurance as well. Listeners on this show, one spouse could be a Medicare eligible, one could be on an individual plan, eligible, or on a group benefits plan, and you need to review that. There's a lot of changes coming for everybody there. I just wrapped up talking about group benefits and the challenges we've had on the double-digit increases for those renewals, and it's been tough in our industry. We want to provide solutions. We want to have good news for our clients, and sometimes, there's some tough years and situations where we've got to get creative on a strategy or help the client and group benefits client get through those increases and prepare for another renewal into the next year. And we're here to be able to help you do that. But stay tuned every week. I think we're going to try to have a guest every show. And on these guests, I'm going to have carriers come in from specific carriers, many of them that you'll know. We're going to try to have providers from the local area that talk about their clinics and the services they provide. Very important, some great clinics and medical facilities here in San Antonio. I don't think we give it enough credit for some of the great clinics and doctors and facilities we've had. I personally had some health scare earlier this year into the summer, and it was a breath of fresh air of the treatment and care I received from some great doctors here in San Antonio to help me get well. So I'm really looking forward to having some great guests from local clinics and doctors and, some of their staff on the show to help provide some value and some awareness on what they can do or how they can help you with your healthcare journey or where you need assistance on a primary care doctor. So carriers, providers, I would really like to get some local officials or some legislation officials that are critical in the legislation of health insurance, healthcare, and insurance in general. I've met some of these legislators that are currently in office over the years, been on the board of some associations where we had that ability to go to Washington and see those politicians there in Washington, D.C. I just don't have the time to travel over to D.C. all the time, so I'm hoping we can get some of these guests here locally and bring those updates and that awareness, not just to them as our legislators, but just also engage our audience out there and let them know there's going to be some changes coming. But we can't thank you enough for joining us here on the show, the Mad Insurance Show. If you have any questions or concerns regarding the show, you can reach out to me directly, Justin Holland at Texas State Insurance Services. The phone number there is 210-880-5316, or you can visit the Texas State Insurance Services website, and that's going to be txstateinsurance.com. And we'd love to help you regarding anything of the topics that we discussed here on the show. And we're looking forward to future shows and engagement and awareness. And we're real excited on what the future holds for us in this industry and how we can help our valued clients and those that we have yet to meet on the challenges they might have in the insurance that they need to have in place to protect themselves and their family. So thanks again for joining us. It's a Mad Insurance Show, making a difference in insurance, and we'll see you again soon. Take care.